This society is the law of the jungle. In this jungle, there are only two kinds of animals, one called the wolf, another called the sheep. You either choose to be a wolf, or you can only choose to become a slaughtered sheep. This social soul is realistic. Others and you are the drivers of interests. Not really to help you. Other people love you, maybe love your appearance and money, not to love your heart. Someone who supports you may not be conscientious or may be for pity. There is also someone who accompanies you in the river of your life. Somebody is just passing by, and someone will accompany you for a long time, but no one can really be separated from you forever. The secrets of money and moneylessness are hidden in the lack of information. One level man controls the other level because they know the secrets that other level man does not know. Poor Dad Rich. Dad writes in the book, "We live in the age of information. Information is priceless. The difference between rich and not money is that information is bad information." A man went to the church and confessed to his father, saying, "Dear priest, I am guilty." He looked at the man and said, "Speak out, God will forgive you for your crimes." The man said, "The war didn't start very soon. I hit a Japanese man who was being pursued by the American army." The priest says, "Everybody is innocent. You are children of God." The man said ashamedly, "I have hidden it in the basement, and I have him give me 15 yen a day for rent." The priest said, "Are you blaming yourself for receiving his money?" The man said, "Yes, I'm guilty. The war has been over for over a year, but I haven't told him it's over yet. I've been taking his rent every day, and there's a real case that's happening around me. I have a friend who sells a second-hand car with a car that costs $3,000. He sells it for $5,000. People who buy the car don't know how much it costs, from $5,000 to $4,500. They feel like they're making money, but if a familiar friend buys $3,000, they can buy the same car for $1,500 more than they know the inside information, and knowing the inner information for $3,000. The difference is $2,500. The world remembers that one level of man controls another, because one level has secrets that the other level does not know. The information gap summarizes the 4 words. Man without self has about the following 4 aspects. I, knowledge asymmetry, I don't know, EI, ability asymmetric, you will, I won't, EI, understand, asymmetric, you understand, I do not understand, IV, resource asymmeter, you have me do not. For example, if your boss asks you to write an advertisement, you will write it, but your boss won't write it. You're making money from the bad information you have between you and him. If your boss knows everything and he's as good as you are, he'll do it. So there's no bad information between you, and then he will fire you right away. There's a saying that the distance between the mountains is the fact that there is little information between them. The money the rich make is the price you pay for crossing the mountain. The more information you get, the higher the price it pays. Why is there such a difference between the average person and the businessman? That's because the information gap between businessmen and ordinary people is big enough. The bigger the income gap, that means you're bigger than the other person, and that's the real face of making money. Think about it. If time could go backwards, you could go 10 years from now before you're absolutely rich. Why? Because you use the perception of today's age to go back 10 years ago. How many times did you lead the minds of those who were 10 years ago? You clearly have all the information about how to make money. You can buy a lot of houses. You know which companies will explode in the future and which shares will make a profit. We need to find effective, valuable information that is the key to the income gap between you and others. How do we get effective information errors? First, the main purpose of reading a good book 100 times is not to say how many books you read, but to find the right few books. A pair is better than 100 books. To believe you've read a lot of books and attended many courses, but why do you generally learn a lot but don't end up doing it? Which leads you to think that learning things seems useless because you used to just learn one more time and didn't really digest it and then transform it. So if you read 100 books and a good book 100 times, I'm sure I'll choose the latter, because you're reading 100 books. You don't actually remember a lot of things, let alone apply them. If you take a good lesson, chew the good book over and over again, The way you think about it will really turn into your thinking, into your behavior, and you'll see the essence of things at once. The second is that the direction has been thought of very clearly, but always without action, always there thinking, then dragging. You think too much, you think too many things, and you think a lot of negative things that end up stopping you from acting. You can't move anything forward, and it's always influenced by things. So when you think and make choices, you're like a wise man, but you think clearly. If you want to understand, you act like a fool. Nothing's absolutely perfect. Anything's going on in the midst of difficulty. You just look in the wrong direction. You don't care about the many methods and the problems of action. Like a friend of mine, he told me how good a creation was, and I felt good about it. And after a year, he was still thinking about it. He was still talking to me about the creation. I said, you had to do it. How to improve your mobility. First, low-level desires are obtained through indulgence. This is an era of information explosion. You see most people's lives. Basically, every day is a short video game entertainment gossip. It satisfies all kinds of desires. Article 2. Higher desires acquired by self-discipline. Higher desires of man, including the freedom of money and the right to fame, must be achieved by self-discipline. But this self-discipline is, in fact, because the desire to satisfy the greater desire of the future is to suppress this greed of the present with greater wishes. Behind all the good things is a dead end. Isn't life just two choices? Either first suffering after sweet, that's suffering for a while, and the other one is called first sweet after pain, that is suffering the rest of your life. Because as you grow up to your 40s, the cruelty of life that you face every 5 years is 10 times more than when you were young. So do you want to suffer a little now, or do you want to suffer for the rest of your life? So the so-called self-discipline is only a moment of suffering in exchange for the sweetness of the future for a lifetime. So it's your choice. Third, the supreme desire is obtained by suffering. If one wants to challenge the summit of life, what one needs to rely on is suffering. You must go alone through a dark forest, like seeds rooted alone in the land. In this dark time, you have to endure all kinds of grievances, hard work not recognized. Hidden tolerance is not understood, sincerity is not accepted, paying without results. Anyone who can go through this dark swamp can see through humanity, can see through the warmth of mankind, can truly grind into steel. The so-called suffering is the process of life ascension. The real strength belongs to those who cry at night in the cribs, but can still work without anything during the day. So from today on, spend all your time and energy on things that don't matter with making money. Don't do anything that does not matter with earning money. If you're not strong enough to yourself, don't blame the world. What we're sharing today, the gap between people and wealth, is because it comes from the differing information that is effective and valuable. Everyone's getting information differently. Most of them get junk information, but real talented people get those little, scarce, valuable information. That's wealth. There are two ways to get information. One is to read the right good books, and the other is to interact with the good ones. When you meet someone who is less than yourself, you have to stick to your thoughts. You have to meet people who are as close as you. How to improve your power of action. Low-level desires. By indulgence to satisfy high-level. By self-discipline to satisfaction of the highest desire. By suffering. The next episode has a more wonderful share. Bye.